So let's sum this up and finish this out by comparing sort of the pros and cons, or the benefits, different benefits and features. Not really pros and cons necessarily. Both of these are pretty much the same, with some, in my opinion, what are slight differences. So we'll start with the Elite Force Glock. Obviously, if you're looking for a Glock that looks like a Glock, so if the aesthetic is important to you, then you're going to want to go with the actual Glock that's been branded and licensed by Glock. So there's that. In my opinion, the recoil is a little bit stronger on this Glock pistol, but even then, the recoil on airsoft pistols as a whole ain't that big. Like, it's not significant enough to be the buying factor for one pistol versus the other, because neither one of these really have recoil that's worth a hoot. I think the only big strength or factor that the Elite Force Glocks have in them is a lot of people are making aftermarket parts and enhancement parts for this. So a lot of kids, when they buy them, they want to swap out a lot of the internal parts so they can get some more range out of it, or they can tighten the groups up slightly, or basically they just want to make it a more long-term usage gun. Doesn't necessarily make it a more effective training tool. So out of the box, this thing's pretty good. I will say I was having some issues with the hop-up when it came to me out of the box. That could have been specific to this gun that I bought that was sent to me, but I did have to mess with a hop-up on this, as you saw in the range video. These are also going to run about 170 to 180, depending on who you're buying it from. The KWA ATP series pistols are a little cheaper. They run about 140 to 150 or so. KWA is currently selling at-home training kits with the ATP LE, which is the standard, the long edition. I believe you can specially order them for the ATPC if you just email them, be like, hey, I want this kit, I want it in this gun. You can get one of the KWA ATP training kits, which is going to include a bag of 1,000 BBs, a can of gas, and 3 like soda can sized targets for about 104 or 105 bucks, and it comes with the ATP LE. So it's the standard, or basically the duty version of this. This is the compact version. If you email them and say, hey, I would like the ATPC with the training kit, I'm pretty sure, since you want to give them your money, they will accommodate you with that. Currently, to my knowledge, Elite Force does not have one of those kind of bundled kits. You can actually save a fair bit of money if you buy one of their training kits, because it comes with gas, BBs, and targets. That's the big selling factor. If you try and order gas online, there's a big shit. It's like a $20 shipping cost, and not a lot of places are going to have these kits or have the ability to assemble those kits in there. So that's one of the strengths that KWA has, where these guns are both essentially equal accuracy. They're both about as accurate as each other at 15, 7, and 5 yards. The sound is about as loud as the other. It's really not more distinctly louder than the other. The trigger pull is pretty fair on both. It's pretty equal. The holster fit, minus the issue that sometimes the Glock will have, the Elite Force Glock will have in some holsters with a little slide going out of battery. They're really not a big deal. As far as holster fit goes, they're pretty even. And the weight is pretty similar. So realistically, for training purposes, one is not better than the other. One is not superior to the other. They're pretty equal. It's just a matter of what do you want. My personal recommendation, and this is going to sound biased because I am a KWA law enforcement ambassador, I like the ATP because of the design and because you can get one with an orange frame. That's a personal thing, and that's coming from a dude that was a law enforcement trainer for a number of years. That to me is a big selling factor, because I don't want to put my airsoft Glock in my carry holster. And if you think that doesn't happen, you need to Google, because there have been dudes that have been shot on airsoft fields with real guns because the dude forgot to swap the pistol out and he just brought his regular gun onto the field. For me, that's something that needs to be considered. It's not a selling factor, but it's something that should be considered. But if you really don't care about that, go with either one of these guns. One is not going to make your training events better than the other. As long as you're not stupid and you know what you're doing for training, you should be fine.